systems that are used by the largest businesses, including more than 60% of the Fortune 100 are using AMD EPYC. And that momentum is just building. Last quarter, we reached a record 46% revenue share in the server market, and we're continuing to see every major customer move more workloads to EPYC. And on the GPU side, our Instinct adoption has also accelerated. We have a broad set of customers across the largest AI labs, cloud providers, leading AI startups, as well as some of the national labs and sovereign AI opportunities are being built on AMD Instinct, and we really appreciate that opportunity. Now, AI compute's becoming a lot more complicated. And what we're seeing with frontier AI is it's really raising the bar for what infrastructure needs to do. It takes more than a single chip or a single server. You actually have to design the entire rack as one system. And that requires leading CPUs, that requires leading GPUs, that requires high-speed networking that connects everything inside the rack and across the data center. And just as importantly, this is about making these systems super easy to use. And so they need to be easy to deploy, easy to service, and very reliable. And that is exactly what we built with Helios. So today, I'm super excited to launch Helios, the industry's highest performance AI rack. Now, Helios is built to train and run the most demanding frontier models in the world at massive scale. And I have a lot of show and tell for you. So for those of you who know me, you know that I love holding up chips. I call myself sometimes the Vanna White of chips. But it turns out with Helios, there are lots and lots of components. And so you can see these are the chips inside the Helios rack. These are the Instinct. Thank you. So this is Instinct, EPYC, and then the Pensando chips for networking that are inside each rack. And every one of these chips is part of the system. So MI455 is the engine. It's the highest performance GPU in the industry. Venice, which drives it, is the world's fastest CPU cores. And Pensando DPUs and NICs actually connect them with leadership programmability and scale-out bandwidth. So I have a few more props to show you. Let's kind of take a look at how these things fit into the overall system. So first, this is now the MI455 accelerator, which is mounted on what we call an Enhanced Accelerator Module, or EAM. It's a production module that goes into Helios, and it is much more than the GPU package. The EAM actually integrates the GPU, memory, power delivery, high-speed interfaces, system management, cold plates for liquid cooling, all into one compact, serviceable module. Pretty cool, right? Now, if I just give you some of the specs, we're talking about 320 billion transistors. This is built with TSMC's leading 2-nanometer and 3-nanometer process technology. And most importantly, it brings together nearly a decade of AMD chiplet innovation. So it allows us to combine 12 compute and I/O chiplets with 432 gigabytes of memory, all connected by leading industry 3D chip stack packaging. And I can say for sure, it's the highest performance AI accelerator in the industry. Okay, so this is a CPU board that's inside the Helios compute tray. And I'm going to talk a lot about CPUs later. But just to give you a high-level view, it's high-speed 96-core EPYC processor, DDR5 memory, all the I/O that's needed to feed the GPUs, all in a single motherboard. And we also have our Selena DPU. This is a critical part of the networking infrastructure, and it really allows us to deliver both front end as well as the scale out and scale across bandwidth overall. And this is our Vulcano AI NIC. And you can see This actually allows us to really have up to 6 Vulcano NICs on a board, and it uses the Open Ultra Ethernet standard. So each Helios compute tray includes 2 of these Vulcano boards, and that allows us to have the scale out and scale up networking overall. So you put all that inside the rack, and we have an additional 6 dedicated networking trays that handle the scale-up networking. And those are all connecting 75 GPUs together with UA Link over Ethernet with silicon from our partners. And that's what we mean by an open ecosystem. So when you bring this all together, I want to say Helios is simply the best AI rack in the world. Now, let's take a look at some numbers. Clearly, it's a very competitive world out there. So when you compare Helios to the competition, we're delivering 15% more compute, 50% more HBM4 memory capacity and memory bandwidth, and 50% more scale-out bandwidth. And what that means is that every Helios can deliver more performance for the largest models, more capacity for longer context, and the bandwidth to scale across thousands of racks. And now we can kind of come over here and take a look at another very large piece of hardware. This is now the production hardware that customers are deploying, and you can see more of that as you go through the exhibit center. And each one of these weighs more than 160 pounds and stands less than 2 inches tall. That's just an extraordinary amount of technology when you look at what's in one of these trays. And when you bring these things together, the numbers are just incredible. More than 18,000 CDNA 5 GPU compute units, over 4,600 Zen 6 CPU cores, and 31 terabytes of HBM4 memory, all in a single rack. That's what it takes to run agentic AI at scale. So today, I'm excited to announce that Helios is in full production. We have shipments on track to start at the end of the 3rd quarter and ramping into the 4th quarter and the second half of the year. And I can tell you, customer demand for Helios is extremely strong. And we're extremely proud of the work that we have done across the leading AI labs to adopt Helios. And so let's start with some of our guests. Today, I'm excited to be joined by our newest Instinct partner and one of the leaders in frontier AI. To share more about what we're doing together, please welcome Anthropic co-founder and chief compute officer, Tom Brown. Hello, Tom. It is so great to have you here, and it is really such an honor to be working with Anthropic. We had a big week this week.
We did, yeah.
So look, Anthropic has just had incredible success over the last few years. Claude has made such a big impact on the overall industry. Compute is such an important factor in the progress. Can you just talk a little bit about your compute strategy and just how things have been evolving?
Yeah, and first, thank you so much. A hard act to follow with Helios, amazing. So with Anthropic, as you mentioned, the scale that we're growing at just as an industry is enormous. And so we have been working to make sure that we have the best, different chips, and we can use the best chips for the best workloads.
Yeah, and look, I think you've been really leading in that area. And I'm happy to say that I've always wanted to be as part of your infrastructure. I remember the early times we talked as you were starting Anthropic. But we had a big announcement this week. We're honored that you will be deploying up to 2 gigawatts of Helios. Why now? What was the key reason?
Yeah. So I think that the first thing was just Helios is an amazing machine. It's it's absolutely fantastic.
Do we like that? Does that work for us?
And then I think the thing that we were thinking about originally was whenever we're bringing up a new hardware platform, it's a big effort. It's like a huge thing. And so as part of as we were thinking about this, we started doing our own evaluation of MI355. You guys generously got us a rack to start working. And we expected this to be kind of a big process. Our actual experience was we had one engineer start doing it. They spun up, they connected it to Claude, asked it, hey, bring up this machine, left it going over the weekend, and we ended up with a graph of the actual performance of our leading model on it, just going up and up and up over the weekend. And so, yeah. And I think that that's a testament to the open platform that you guys have made, where like anyone, like human or AI, can now build real models on your platform.
Tom, I kid you not, when my team told me that you had an engineer working on MI355, I said, hey, like, are we like making sure we help them? And they're like, they say they don't need any help. They got it all covered. And I was like, hey, that's a wonderful story. Thank you for that. Now, we're also super excited about the work we're doing together because, one of the most valuable parts of this partnership is, Claude and using Claude within AMD. Like, we're big believers in the fact that AI is this force multiplier, and the more we're able to have the leading foundational models really familiar with the AMD architecture, the better we're going to be able to service the overall market. So can you just talk a little bit about how you're seeing Claude really evolve in these types of highly engineering-specific workloads?
Yeah, so I think this is a great place for collaboration where like the bread and butter of Claude is doing software engineering, and now more and more we're seeing it help out with the type of workloads that you guys are doing also, like design, layout, which is not quite the normal software engineering, but is adjacent. And I do think that that is the place where we can work together to make the next generation of chips even better.
Yeah, no, I think, and also on the software side, I think the work that we've seen with Claude and the kernel development has been just incredible. So, Tom, one of the things for our audience here, we like to talk about the present, but it's actually, most of us are working on the future. So this is really the beginning of, what we believe is a very strong multi-year, partnership. Can you talk a little bit about, number one, what are you most excited about in the industry? And then number two, like, what can we do more together to really make sure that we're satisfying those, key opportunities?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I think the working together for the scale up seems like it's probably the biggest thing that I'm most excited for, where it does seem like we see consistently using more better compute results in better models that then add more value to all the folks using it downstream. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then I think one thing now that we're investing more and more with you guys too, and I think we can continue to, is security, where that's a place where now, as the machines are getting more complex, we can work together to secure things at the chip layer, the server level, the rack, the whole network, and that'll help out, like, not just us, but the entire industry stay safe.
No, I think you're completely right. We are super focused on the idea of, how can we use AI to improve every aspect of our product, whether it's, performance, power, software, and security, as you said. So really, Tom, huge thank you for the opportunity to work very closely with you and your team. Our team loves working with you guys.
Likewise.
And we look forward to everything that we're going to do together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, look, Tom talked about how important performance is, and we have been laser focused on ensuring that the real-world performance of MI455 and Helios really comes true when we look at system results. So let's take a look at some of those results. So here's an example. We're running DeepSeek V4 Flash, one of the latest reasoning models, and we are actually comparing MI455 to MI355. And the key thing is with every generation, we